The weeks crawled by. In February, he got a letter that included an article clipped from a newspaper in Marblehead, Massachusetts, a coastal town about 180 miles to the south. The article told about a seal named Josephine that had delighted local people with the tricks. As he read, Harry became more and more certain that Josephine was really Andre. So he called a relative who lived near Marblehead and asked him to take a look. But by the time the relative got there, Josephine had left. Weeks passed. Then Harry got a phone call. Andre was in Rockland, just a few miles away, and he needed help. Harry rushed to his friend's aid. It looked as if Andre had fought with another seal. He was cut and bruised, and one flipper was badly chewed. Many of his wounds were infected. To find out what to do for Andre, Harry called some experts. They told him that the seal would eventually die from his injuries. Yet Harry wasn't going to give up. He called the veterinarian who took care of the rest of the Goodrich families. Dr. Mack gave Andre some strong antibiotics. The medicine worked, and the seal recovered. The next summer, Harry and Andre made up some new tricks. All of them grew out of things Harry had seen the seal do as part of his natural behavior. For example, when Andre stretched, he would sometimes cover his eyes with a flipper. He quickly learned to do that when Harry asked, "Aren't you ashamed of yourself, Andre?" Sometimes, when Harry had a particular trick in mind, the seal had to figure out what he was being asked to do. So he would try several different tricks. When he did the right one, Harry's praise and a fish for a reward let Andre know he was correct. And once he learned a trick, he never forgot it. The harbor seal's fame spread beyond Rockport, beyond Maine, even beyond New England. Newspapers and magazines from all over the country told the story of Andre and Harry. Visitors came to Rockport especially to see the harbor master and his animal friend. When summer ended, Harry again had to figure out what to do with Andre. He couldn't leave him in his summer pen because the ice that always formed in the harbor would crush it. So Harry moved Andre into a friend's boathouse. Miserable, the seal spent his time gazing out the window at the sea. Harry visited him regularly, but Andre remained glum. One day, a big storm blew in, so Harry brought the seal home and put him in the basement. In the morning, Andre was gone. Harry discovered a pile of snow on the floor. The seal had pushed out a window and slithered over the snow to the water. Harry called the newspapers to alert people that Andre was loose. Soon he got a phone call from a town 50 miles away. He drove there and brought Andre home again. Late the following fall, Harry decided to let Andre take his chances in the wild. After all, the seal wasn't a baby anymore, and others of his kind managed just fine in the ocean over the winter. The experiment succeeded, and Harry and Andre developed a yearly routine. The seal spent the winter at sea. Then, in the spring, he returned to Rockport and his pen. Even though Andre was full grown, Harry worried about him during their months of separation. The seal still faced possible harm in the stormy Atlantic. Maybe what Andre needed was a winter home where he would be happy. Harry found him one, about 200 miles to the south at the New England Aquarium in Boston. Several other seals lived there, so Andre would have their company, be well fed, and, most of all, be safe from the dangers of the winter ocean. The aquarium was happy to have such a famous guest. That fall, aquarium workers picked up Andre in Rockport and took him to Boston by truck. When word spread that this special seal was at the aquarium, crowds of people came to see him, just as they did in Maine. When spring came again, the aquarium called to ask Harry when they should bring Andre back to Rockport. "Don't," Harry said. "Let him swim home." But Boston Harbor was full of large ships like freighters and oil tankers. Everyone worried that Andre would be injured if he would let go at Long Wharf. Instead, the aquarium decided to truck Andre to Marblehead and release him there. Harry met Andre and the aquarium people in Marblehead on the day of the release. They loaded the seal onto a boat and chugged out into Marblehead Harbor. Once they reached open water, Harry said, "Go home, Andre." The seal leaped off the boat and vanished into the water. Would he find his way back to Maine? Did he want to? After a winter in captivity, would he decide to spend the summer at sea instead of in his cage in Rockport Harbor? As Harry drove home, he wondered. A few days later, the phone rang. A fisherman had found Andre curled up in his dinghy, sound asleep. Soon another call came, then another, all from people who had seen the seal. Each sighting was closer to home. Then there was one last call from Rockport Harbor. Andre was home. For 8 of the next 10 years, Harry's harbor seal spent summers in Maine and winters either in Boston or at the Mystic Aquarium in Connecticut. His fame continued to spread. The Rockport town manager named Andre the town's honorary harbor master. And in 1978, Andre helped unveil a life-size statue of himself made of polished granite. It looks out to sea even today. In 1985, Harry learned that his old friend was nearly blind. The lenses in Andre's eyes had become so cloudy that he could no longer see. Despite the loss of his sight, Andre managed just fine with his other senses, especially smell. Everyone agreed that he could swim home. And so he did, traveling from Cape Cod to Rockport, nearly 300 miles, despite being blind. Asked how Andre did it, Harry could only tell the newspapers, "I've asked him, and he won't tell me." Although Andre could no longer see well enough to do some of his tricks, the shows went on that summer. When winter came, the seal made his usual trip to the aquarium in Mystic, but this time he didn't settle in. Instead, he refused to eat no matter what he was offered. After nearly 2 weeks, Harry decided it was time to bring Andre home. He drove to Mystic and picked up his old friend. When he got home to Rockport, Andre ate. In 1986, Andre turned 25, and that spring, as usual, he set out to find a new mate. Normally, the competition to win a mate energized him. Not so this year. On June 14th, Andre was seen in Rockland, looking tired and bruised. He had probably lost another battle with a younger, stronger male seal. He avoided all humans, even Harry. A month later, Harry found his old friend Andre had died on a deserted beach in Rockland. Harry took the harbor seal home and buried him. 4 years later, Harry Goodrich died too. But no one in Rockport or Boston or Mystic will ever forget the remarkable friendship between the man who loved animals, especially one seal, and the seal who loved people, especially one man. I hope you have enjoyed the story, boys and girls. I know it seems like it has a sad ending, but it really is special when we find a friend.